General Brar, I want to take the first moment to wish you, on behalf of all of us, for him being bestowed the highest peacetime medal, the Param Visheseva medal, last week during the Republic Day. He was with us last year, and some of us who were there last year remember going to the Madras Regimental Center, which is founded in 1860, is one of the great institutions of India, a grand institution, and today he, and I also take this moment to welcome all the other officers here, and we also have many other officers of the present and past here, so I want to say this is going to be a wonderful evening listening to them. I will also take a minute to introduce or just to read about some of the things, just to understand of his broad and rich experience. 38 years, rich experiences in Jammu and Kashmir, Manipur, Nagaland, Assam, Rajasthan, Rann of Kutch, and served the UN missions in Congo and South Sudan. But I also want to tell you, last time we listened to you, we were slightly moment confused whether it was a technocrat or a uniformed officer. Had so much interest into drones, tanks, technology, missiles, but not necessarily only from the combat aspect, but also from the technology aspect. Had a great understanding about geopolitics, and has today come here because tomorrow we go to visit his ecosystem. He is not going to be with us tomorrow, but was very kind enough to spend time, has been a supporter of the Nilgiri Economic Dialogue from last year, which really anchored the dialogue because it's very important to have partnerships like that. General, it's very kind of you to be here, and it's very important for us to listen. Because this dialogue, as you've just heard Dr. Vinu Aram and Mr. Myra in conversation, this dialogue is trying to be as inclusive, even though you've given us a new mandate. And as inclusive so that we hear multiple voices, views, visions of India as it is and in the future. I know you are somebody who is at the forefront of many things that you know here about India and the future. So I would request you to start your opening remarks, and I believe you will take a few questions later, but I request you to give your opening remarks. Thank you very much.
Good evening and Vanakkam, since we are in Tamil Nadu. We have a very distinguished audience. I'll just start with taking some of the names. Dr. Montague Singh Ahluwalia, Mr. Vikram Kapoor, Mr. Arun Mehra, Mr. T.N. Nainan, and of course the organizer, Mr. Shankar, Mr. Srivats, Mr. Unikrishnan, and the distinguished audience here, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly an honor to be here because firstly, thank you Shankar, and thank you all of you for bestowing so much of respect to the Indian Armed Forces. So we thank you for that. As they say, the soldier's thought which comes to his mind is, he will give his life, and he just wants an acknowledgement from the country and the love and affection of the country. So thank you so much. And the second thing I really want to compliment is that when you say, hear all the people, the defense was generally not part of it. So I really want to compliment you that you think it fit enough that the defense is part of this dialogue. Because when we talk of whole of the nation approach, defense is very much in it. And gone are the days when you have to defend on the border. It is actually the war and the whole dynamics, geopolitics getting so complex that you need everybody and everything which you have. And you really need to synergize the efforts. As India, we have been working in silos. I just heard Mr. Arun Mehra that what all, of course, I do not compare with any of these thought leaders. We are still in service and we are still basically a Fauji. But if countries like UK, which didn't have any resources, control the whole world, how did it do it? It is only through the people. If Singapore, which had nothing, came up, it was the people and the leadership. Likewise, Japan rose after World War II. Again, it was the people, it didn't have much of resources. So, it is not the size, resources, and other things which matter. It is the people and the leadership and how you govern yourself and all the things which you do. So, I think if I can take the credit on behalf of armed forces, we have really done well, if I may call it, in as far as nation building is concerned, in as a role model for everybody else. If I even go back as Indian Armed Forces, uh, even pre-independence of many hundred of years back, we as fighting forces, we were always you know taking on invasions and fighting ingressions into our country. So whether we were not organized as Indian Army, but it was maybe the Chola Empire or Maratha Empire or Sikh Empire or the Rajput, all the empires, even in the Assam, people were fighting. So, as fighting as forces, and from there our regiments grew. The various regiments, the Madras Regiment, the Rajput Regiment, and the Sikh Regiment, and the Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, and etc. So we have been fighting through. So some of you may not know, even in independence, the first defiance which started, we have heard of 1857. But I think we are in Tamil Nadu. I think how many of you have heard the first defiance actually started in Vellore in 1806 by the Madras Regiment. That was the first defiance which started, of course, 1857. Then it started in there was a naval rebellion, and of course, the Indian National Army and all that. So even in that, in fact, Field Marshal Auchinleck sent a missive that he can't control such a huge country if the British Indian Army is not under their control. So that was the contribution in consolidation. Of course, we also had like Dakshin Bharat area was, that time Dakshin Bharat area, the capture of, the consolidation of Nizam, Hyderabad, Goa, Pondicherry, and all these northeast JNKs, you're well aware. So we have fought all the wars. And if I may comment, we have eminent economists here. We have done a very cost-effective job. The amount of money which we have faced challenges of the biggest armies from the northern borders. On the other side, we have a third front opening up. We have internal things, and we have been doing. So if you actually, whatever the economics call it, and you see China has not fought a war. See their defense budget. You see US defense budget, they don't have any threat, 10 times us. You see defense budgets of all European countries, which didn't have any threat after World War II. And they were NATO. They were together. We were all alone. So, I think we have done basically a very cost-effective job. India bolte na sasta aur tikau. So I think maybe we are somewhat in that system. We do things. And I can give you some example also of, now since he said tech, there was a cooling system which the Russia was giving us for 1 crore of a tank. Tank cooling system is very expensive. So there was an Indian company, and I continued to promote it in my previous appointment at DG Armored Corps. I overruled the IFA and NFA. So after maybe 4 tries, the company did produce that, and it was 1/3 the cost. They were giving for 1 crore plus, that company gave it for 30 or 32 lakhs. So, when we talk of importing, India is the biggest importer of arms. If this is an industry body, if you start producing it, our defense budget will come 1/3, and that thing will go for your development. The basic thing of taking so much from abroad, they are really fleecing us. I can tell you, I can't give you exact examples, but I think suffice to say, nobody is a friend, because everybody wants to make his money. So, whether it's West or East or Russia or anybody else for that matter. And nobody will give you critical technology. So, these are the challenges which we face. So, somebody expected me to narrate, Fauji hai to koi action ki baat karo. So, we have General Arun here. He faced action. We have also faced, in Manipur, Nagaland, we have faced, we were in a convoy, bullets fired. So, we took position, we fired back, and suddenly Luckily, one or two guys of my QRT got injured. I was the commander. We killed, I mean, the one guy. But, these actions at this stage, we feel good about it. Because, these are some of the things which are happening. And ultimately, who's driving all this? There's a bigger force and a power which is driving. So, the people who you're dealing with at our level are actually pawns in whatever is happening. But just to give you an example, in my headquarters, we have a Veer Chakra, Colonel Upreti, a very fit guy. I mean, he can beat any Bollywood or Hollywood star in fitness and looks. So I thought it was a good idea to get him to speak to some school children to show his Veer Chakra action. So that guy is a pure soldier and a bit of straightforwardness, pahadi. Well, I planned, 5 guys were there, we went across the border, we killed and came back. So, I guess Shah Rukh Khan would have created a movie, there would have been background sounds and you did this, so that was his Veer Chakra action. But, people who have had that and have gone through, there you're fighting for your buddy, you're fighting for your regiment, you're fighting for your Namak Nishan. So, this cavalier kind of a thing, ki desh ki seva and all, may be there, but what you're doing at the moment is totally different. Some of the things, again, I was told ki UN ki baat kar raha hu, but UN ki you can speak freely, because other actions are internal or something which you will not like to speak such in an open forum. I was in Congo, so, I'm just giving you examples what we feel and come across. We were in Congo in 2000, that is just before Parakaram, if you know, that standoff which took place for almost a year. So we were there and Pakistanis were also there. So I'm just telling the way our Indian Army officers treat their soldiers is with a lot of respect and affection. In fact, they lead them always and every time. So the JCO, because they speak Hindi and kind of a Punjabi also, and they found a Sikh officer. So I don't know, you may not understand, but the effect will come then only. They said, "Inna nu sade afsaran nu sikha do ki izzat ki main kari di hai." Matlab, like he said, that our officers actually they ill-treated their JCOs other. So he said, please teach our officers also some manners. So in that I can give you example. The China, we talked of China. So, we were we were part of the first team, and Congo is again a terrible country. A lot of, even now there are new news is coming of all the fighting which is taking place. So, we were the first or the second to be deployed. So, Chinese are projectionist. I'm sure there are no Chinese fan here, but I have seen them at close quarters at number of occasions, which I will try and relate. At that time, they didn't have anybody in UN. So, they plan everything. They first want to assess situations. So initially they sent their political advisors, who were not actually soldiers. So they said, go and join a team where Indians are. And I must tell you, and that is also a thing which I think if is not known, when you're in a UN mission, you can compare armies. And I'm not boasting, please ask, the Indian battalions are in the place where the most difficult areas, because they rely on Indians. Then maybe Pakistanis, and later Pakistanis also, you have to grant it to them to some extent. Of course, now we are never together. But you will never find the other countries in any of the battle situations in UN. So anyway, coming to the point, so they said be with teams where you have Chinese. So these Chinese have really assessed that even to enter a UN, in a UN peacekeeping mission, they had a plan. So, anything which you do, so they had a plan how to project. And their entry into UN, and I was also a sector commander in South Sudan, their entry into UN has not been for solving any of the UN problems, I can tell you. They have been entry to access to Africa. So whether South Sudan is also mineral rich, and all rare earths and all the other metals are there, so is Congo and so are the other countries. So the other countries are focused. So when we talk of this thing, we are into our own turf and silos, where we feel that I should be given credit. So, I feel this attitude of slightly not having self-belief also needs to be encouraged whenever all these thought leaders come. And I think this is because हमें भरोसा नहीं है कि हमारा ख्याल कौन रखेगा. So that's why we kind of do everything in a selfish manner. We hoard things. We don't give it give things and we don't have. Possibly only maybe thanks to what he has said, the only reliable organization seems to be Indian Army or Indian Armed Forces for that matter. But if you have a system where everybody can rely on others, then people will start giving. And when you start giving is when actually things happen. So हमको आपस में trust ही नहीं है. हम बोलते हैं कि we obviously have to make sure we do well and not the others. So I talked about UN, though I was told not to speak about UN. But okay, let me give a situation. I was in a division when this Balakot happened. So, as a div commander, we had to mobilize. So again, I can't give you more details. But this wing commander, Abhinandan, so it's my division which brought him back and all. But in that, you see, that was the closest one got to war and one could see the other side which were mobilizing and moving. So in that also, I can tell you, the point is, if we really want to take them on, we can. But then, it is the nation which has to support us. So at that time, back to Congo, the Pakistanis told us, because there were a strike corps which went across, and it was stopped right at the border not to enter, because Americans didn't want it. But Pakistanis told us, had you gone, you would have divided Pakistan into two, because they were not ready at all. So, some of these decisions cause us. Now, there's another decision which happened, like we had taken a tank to Ladakh sector where all this is happening. Way back in 1987, I was part of that team. Now, that thought process was of General Sundarji. In the forward posture, he said tanks to be deployed in Ladakh. So it was a secret mission, and we had broken the tank in two, taken it up, and in Ladakh in 1987, there was, now though it's full of houses, there was nobody there at that time. We stayed there, but, again, our vision or maybe our strategic thinking, we came back. At that time, China didn't have a tank of its own. It was borrowing or copying tanks from Russia, T-59 tanks, and making it their own. So, China has been on a straightforward path. Now, whatever system of governance they are following, it is the next guy takes it further. Now, takes it further in a wrong or right manner, we can debate. But he is taking that country forward for past 30 years. So if you have a system of governance or system of working where you're always moving forward, you obviously will reach in the right place. What are the challenges which India faces in case we have to develop or do well? I think we are, nobody acknowledges it, and I think maybe it has been spoken. All the countries which developed, let's say even Japan or even China which rose, they were at peace with everybody and they were supported. By US, China was supported, Japan was supported, so many other. But if we have to become developed by, as we say, 2047, firstly we are all alone. Then we are facing challenges all across about us. And then we have to rise. So I can tell you, I am again, maybe a bit of a geostrategy I can speak on. We will not be allowed to rise. Because if we become a power center, it destabilizes all the equations which are happening. So there is no friend. So it is the synergy which of ours or Indians which can bring back everything to India in whatever form. You will never have 100% reliable, like what we understand, the peaceful rise of China was supported because they felt if China is this thing, maybe they will be able to change their method of governance to democracy, which never happened or will never going to happen, at least in my this thing. So we'll be challenged. So the challenges which we face would be enormous in case we have to develop. We have differences, those would be exploited at all costs. And if we get fooled, after all, if you go back, again it is, the UK was able to rule half the world because they could fool the people that you know nothing and we are the ones who know more. Now, if that foolery is still continuing and we don't realize that who's fooling whom, So, it's again the trust and this thing. So we need people, genuine people. We need implementers. You see, even when we function in Indian Army, in fact, Indian Army also needs implementers. We need implementers for, Make in India. So I am not talking much because actually, I had prepared my talk for Make in India. But then 2 hours back, he said it will be a general talk. So I'm drifting from one point to another. So, Make in India is very important to India, as you all understand, for economics, for self-reliance, and for bringing up Indian industry. Uh, US is doing extremely well because of their defense industry. And they had that thought leadership. I think the DARPA, everybody would have heard, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, which is in Silicon Valley. It gave you internet, it gave you mouse, it gave you Facebook and all these things. All the high-tech critical technologies have come because of the defense setup which was done by US after World War II. So in that sense, I am not this thing, but since I have been leading some of the projects of Indian Army, when I came as GOC Dakshin, so that is how I have been relating with IIT Madras, trying to build up startups or guide them in a small way. And maybe Kodacia, we had a tech seminar and other things. Now, light tank Zorawar, which I think you have heard. Zorawar light tank is the project which I had initiated, and in fact, I'll speak a little bit about it. Zorawar name, firstly, I have given, and so that it's based on a general who had gone across into Tibet. So the light tank was being developed by DRDO and L&T after this standoff which took place in Galwan. So I came as DG Armored Corps. So I looked at the specs and specification. They were copying mostly a Chinese tank. So it's high time we stopped copying. Self-belief, self-reliance, please make out your own Indian thought. So they were copying Chinese tank and copying the K9 Vajra, which is of Korea. So firstly I said, since I had enough service and personal experience of operational and maybe technical also, I said these specs are wrong, and this is maybe the first time that DRDO listened to the Indian Army. So the specs which I've given of 25 tons and all other things were agreed to, and I became the project leader for this tank involving L&T and this thing. So this model of trying to initiate a project, so the light tank has come out fastest in the world, because any project, you see Tejas, Arjun, they have taken 20 years or plus. So any project of this magnitude in a foreign country also has taken a lot. So, we can do things if we know how to do it. So you need people in all departments, people of merit. That is again a thing which needs to be done. And, this transparency, fairness, honesty, these are the things. But I will just try and come to a close, because then we can have some time for question answers. Okay, let me see. Disaster management. Now, some of the challenges which, in fact, more than the wars and all other things, because we have done a lot of disaster management in the past 1.5 years. If you calculate the amount of loss, amount of effect on lives which disasters have done, it is more than the wars. So I think as a country, we possibly need to pay attention to this. And, even in Nilgiri, so much of constructions. And as Dakshin Bharat area, Wayanad was in news. So you saw that the Indian Army which went there was part of Dakshin Bharat area. There were 2 cyclones which happened. Last year was Cyclone Mikjaw, then Cyclone Fenjol. There were floods in southern Tamil Nadu. There were landslides elsewhere. So this is something which does need immediate attention. And as far as the youth are concerned, I think we all know, and some things were just talked earlier also. We have the largest population of young people in the world. Now, if they are not channelized, what will they do? Now, I don't know. Even sending drugs from abroad is a target to, because if your workforce is drugged, how do you expect the country to do well? So it may be a targeted plan to send drugs to India. It may be somebody is making money, but it's a targeted plan to mislead the youth. So I think the industry here, the people here, really need the youth to give direction. And of course, this social media is something which I think it needs, because we are living in a real world or not a real world. So anything in social media, whether we like it or not, any picture we see, it gets into our mind. So I've been, kind of saying when we go to these, some of these wellness centers or, people into the spiritual field, I say that maybe they know more, but one thing which they do which helps is they keep the mobile phone away for 10 days, so as it is, your mind becomes all right. So I think if we all start keeping our mobile phones away, I think we'll be have the right wellness. Otherwise, so much of, so to say, nonsense, if I can use that word here, gets into your head that your focus gets defocused. So, these are some of the things which we can continue to do. A country, for what reason I don't understand, is unclean. If cants can be the best, because we have done many courses, and the course which Jan Arun did, in fact, we went to a place, NDC, like we went to a place, there were some foreigners. So they said, your cants are better than our foreign cants also. Some of the industry, like Infosys, we went, and other places, Tata Shata and all, they have beautiful campuses. But why not the rest of the country? So anyway, we knew the answer, but we couldn't give it. But point is, if you clean, like if one has been to Myanmar and other places, they are not rich countries, but they're very clean. They promote tourism. If a country is clean, your health improves. Like we talked of lakes. So in Dakshin, that also, I think Army has a big role in environmental protection. If you take out, because people are eyeing that prime land of Army, but they don't understand the prime land is not of Army, it was prime land because Army is there. You take out Army, it will become a slum. So Delhi also, there are a lot of things that Army should move out of Dhalakot. Otherwise, I think it's already the pollution levels in Delhi and all other places. So same applies to Chennai also, we are in the right place. People are eyeing that. But they don't understand if, the water levels, because in all other areas in the city, if your Mother Earth, there was 100 square feet, which was to take one person. What we have done is, we have built skyscraper that Mother Earth, 100 square feet, taking 10,000 people. So, how can that ecosystem work? So I am not a planner. But in the place where there's no water, there's no salt bearing, you're building buildings after buildings and same population. So nothing will work. So we need some kind of a decluttering. So, but anyway, so I'm talking about environment. So I'll give you one or two examples of what environment thing we've done. In Bangalore, we have a base workshop. We have some army land adjoining a civil area. So that area was full of sewage, garbage, and mosquitoes, and it was in fact a very bad area. So we started that as a project to clean it up with help of NGOs and some funding. But when you start doing good work, maybe God also helps you. So when they were cleaning, they found an aquifer. I mean, aquifer, you understand, there's a channel in the earth which is carrying water. So we struck that aquifer. Now that whole lake, huge, is freshwater lake. And the area has become beautiful. So same as in Wellington, like if you've been to Wellington, I think you'll be shown around. We're making another area which will hold water and all that. So 13 lakes have been made in past 1 year as part of, environmental protection and other things. So, Army stands out as a role model, as an efficient, and I'm happy that the forum found it fit enough. But it is for us Army officers also to, rise to the capability and skills to involve all of you in Make in India or other things. So I think that is a good step and an initiative. I think that is, and we can have some questions. Thank you so much, Jayan.
General, from morning we've been, from afternoon we've been discussing multiple things. As I was listening to you, I was thinking, you added spice, you added salt, you added sugar into that whole puzzle of things that we are figuring out. It's very interesting. It's almost like you heard some of the things we discussed, but you bring an alternate possibility on saying we have done it in an alternate ecosystem, we can do it, why is it not happening? And also the experiences, many of us talk about ideas, but you talk not about the real, but the real, how this can be done. I think it's important for us to realize that the experience that he's sharing, the ideas that, or the worry that he has, or also the alternate things in business, in society that he is bringing about are other dimensions that sometimes we are not thinking because they are taking care of that. I will open the floor for a few questions, but thank you so much, because this is very important for us to get reminded that we can, and it is happening in India. It is happening in some ecosystems, and some of you are not, as you said, the 4Gs that we think you are. You are strategists, you are solvers, you are innovators. And today, people like you, what I'm very inspired is you're willing to collaborate. You want private sector.
Thank you.
You want to involve us, and you want to inspire young people. Please.
You see, just so that I don't miss that point I'd listed, but you see, the warfare, in fact, that part is again a whole topic. The warfare were fought in 3 domains: land, sea, and air. Now we have other domains which are coming up, which is your cyber, space, cognitive, electromagnetic, the whole world. All these other domains have to be, because they are not what army or a soldier can fight. Firstly, they have to be developed by you, and maybe the cyber hackers have to come from private industry. So, it is very, very important, because the future was high-tech. And if the people in uniform don't understand that, and the people in uniform don't have the skills and capability, because you see, it's not a product which will come to you. We have to be the project leaders for that, shaping those multi-domain systems in which, you have a system in which it will be slightly technical, but, the technology guy in Bangalore or here, he's just having a technology. So that is what I'm trying to do in IT Madras and other places. I'm bringing these startups together to build a use case for a tech product. So that leadership has to come from people in it. Otherwise, how will, IT guy or even anybody else know what is to be done? Like in Ukraine war, I can just give an example. There is a tech guy. You have a Uber app. So a similar app, or maybe Uber or whatever was in Ukraine. So it says that the taxis come and they take you to a point. So he converted that app to map all the artillery guns, and he mapped the users. So anybody who wanted an artillery fire used that app, and it was available on call. So, instead of delivering Blinkit in 2 minutes, you can have apps delivering maybe rockets. So it is, but the thought has to be there. The technology is there, but we need persons who can make that into a ecosystem for defense, for high tech. Like Elon Musk has made a constellation of Starlink satellites which provided constant information of what's happening. We need drones and other these kind of, like swarm drones is a project which again I led, so I'll not go into that. So, all these things are supposed to be done. So the point which I'm saying, the next war won't be fought. Of course, the land will be the deciding factor, how much land you hold. So finally, armed forces are very much required, but they need the help of tech guys.
So we are together in this conversation. Questions, please. Maybe I'll open to somebody right at the last, and then we'll come to the first part of the audience. The mic at the last, or the first row, maybe.
Hello, sir. Good evening. I'm Sudarshan, working as a professor in Kumaraguru institutions. So I'm really happy to interact with you. So I've just got a small question. Being a professor, I've seen candidates of different levels. Currently, the candidates that I deal with, they do have better technical exposure. They have multicultural. But still, their endurance and consistency, I can feel a small difference. I just wanted to understand how it is in your field of defense.
So you're saying candidates that you are seeing versus what general is seeing in defense.
Yes.
You're seeing students and they lack perseverance, you said?
They have good technical exposure, but the endurance that they have is not so good. So maybe in your domain you would have seen generations, right? I just wanted to understand how it was earlier and how it is now.
So he's saying students today he sees who are good technical, but their endurance is lacking. He's saying, are you seeing similar and has it changed over the years?
Okay,
and to add it up, what would be your suggestion to improve that?
Endurance.
Okay, you know, on this question, each army officer may have, or senior army officer will have maybe a differing answer to it. But, you know, one common point which everybody will give, that, earlier the battles were fought physically. So when we go 100 years back, a person had to be good swordsman and, fighter and all that. And then he had to be, when horses came, he had to be a good rider and then also fight. Now, when the technology is coming, so, a sniper chap which fires long distance, he may not be a very physically fit guy, but if he has that sniper sense and can kill people at 400 meters or at that range or long range, so technology has changed that you don't have to be, but we always have a basic standard. That basic standard has to be achieved. So, in MRC or we have something called the basic military training and advanced military training, in which basic physical fitness, basic firing standards and basic medical requirements have to be met. If you're unfit, there are chances of you being boarded out. So basics are there, but you don't need, I can't give example of a Hollywood guy because they don't match army guys. So, somebody who's actually fit may not be that required. But, like in some situations like Kargil, people climbed and did what actions which were unimaginable. But, sometimes the people who did it were not so physical. It was the mental fit which always counted. And that mental, you will find the, gallantry award winners, some of them very, very unassuming. They don't look like heroes. So, a person who does that action, it comes from within. So, but now, I thought if your answer is we need guys with that endurance, mental more, physical basic, and that is the basic combination, but we need people with tech skills. Because, future, a soldier has to understand how the drone, I happened to fly Tejas very recently. I didn't fly, I was taken, but then I was given controls. Now, to control that aircraft, which has 10 displays in front of you, and it is going at that Mach and you are facing 4G. 4G means you are having that effect of gravity. So, and your blood is going into your head. And then you have to keep the level of the aircraft. You have to, your decision making is in milliseconds. So fighter pilot, that's why, he's, is not just flying something which is easy. So the technological part has to be there. In fact, I interacted with ISRO. I went to their center in Trivandrum. So we need space guys now who understand, because future, everything is going to, and you don't understand, even if the space satellites are taken out, I think half the businesses will close, including WhatsApp, which will be more painful, I think. Okay, I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Thank you. Jai Hind, thank you.
Yes, Jihan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It was inspiring stories that you have told. So I like to bring in a spectrum about our education system from an academic perspective, where all our policies focuses on science, technology, engineering, mathematics. All those 4 pillars may be applicable in Indian Army. So from your view, how is our current institutional academic systems, and if we want to develop those kind of skill sets, endurance or a mindset into the students, and as in the previous sessions we are told that average age, what we are focusing is of 30 years old. If that particular crowd has to be workforce for the Indian Army, from your view, what are the changes that need to be brought in? That I'd like to ask, sir.
You see, as far as the educational system in itself, I'm sure there would have been speakers talking about the education. It itself needs a transformation in itself. Because as we see, our system is slightly theoretical.
Right.
We are not able to produce people who do practical to that extent. Because when they go on ground in any company also,
Correct.
The company has to do on-the-job training, because they don't come with that kind of a thing. So as it is, I feel that education system has to undergo a change. But if you're talking of defense, then again, the defense ecosystem is no different from any technical ecosystem. Because what the education should give that soldier or an officer who's joining is the technical understanding of everything which is happening now. Because, I can give you example of a tank, for example.
Yes, sir.
Now the tank will have to control the drones, will have to control itself, it has to control the gun. So all these things can only happen if its technical understanding and skill set is very high. So the technical knowledge has to be mixed with all the curriculum. And then, there are some of these universities, and in Coimbatore, number of them, which have started this B.Tech in defense, M.Tech in defense. Because these things are required for not the soldiers, but for the entrepreneurs or the people who have to make something. Because, we have a big gap. Because we always imported things. So though we have started this so-called Make in India, it is the ISRO which actually had the genuine Make in India when they were denied everything, so they started on their own. But we always imported things. Now we are trying to modify it. So, the understanding, because the companies like General Dynamics and Lockheed Martin and all, they are driving the warfare because they have been there for 80 years, driving the same thing. We have just started in that action. So our companies need hand-holding to understand M.Tech in defense, what defense requirements are there, understand some kind of operational thing. And these kind of interactions which happen, I think, may bring some light to the thing. And we also, now Indian Army, I think everywhere we are trying to do interaction with colleges, universities, trying to showcase our weapons and some kind of a thing. Otherwise, the earlier British thing, ki can't ke andar fauj hai, rest of the thing is outside, should not work or does not work.
True.
Thank you.
True. Thank you so much.
Jihan?
Sir, really amazing conversation. Thank you so much. Over here.
Okay.
Just flipping it to the other side of breaking down that barrier between cantonment and outside. You talked about the 4G being a 4G and just wanting love. They'll go and die for their country. And I was just thinking about all the Javans that you have led and all the Javans whose lives you know about. They are also members of, they are also Indian citizens, right? They are also members of Indian society. And we were listening to a talk before about listening to the people and understanding what they want, what they see their society being. What does your 4G as an Indian citizen, as a member of Hamara Desh Ka Samaj, what do they think and dream of that they are defending, that they are protecting? What do they want for their society? Because you would have a great insight on that.
Okay. All questions are good. This is a question which I think needs to be addressed also. I think in the last session, a good point was made on people feedback. Because I am not commenting, please, with all due respect to the policymakers. If we are making a policy for the farmers, we don't ask the farmers what they want, like what you're asking. If you are making a policy for the MSMEs, they are not part of the decision making. And in our case, the Ministry of Defense also, some of the decisions, of course, things are changing, but it was always somebody who possibly has not gone to the border or seen things. So how will those policies or decisions be all right or will affect? Now, as far as the soldier is concerned, you see, soldier, I mentioned that he has full reliance. Firstly, that his family will be taken care of. That is why we give so much of importance on looking after our unit. That we always say, ye hamari family hai. We don't distinguish if the soldier or an officer is somewhere and if you're part of X unit or X some kind of they are part of us. This kind of a bonding doesn't exist, I think, in other parts of other organization. And we continue that right till veterans and right till everywhere. So, this reliance that my family, my children, this thing will be taken care of. Now, it is for the country to honor them to the highest. Some of the soldiers, unfortunately, if they have a land case going on, you say, what do they want? Like most of them from rural backgrounds. They have some land case, because when they are away, obviously their brothers take away their land. There are many cases which come to me. I mean, the brother is a civilian, but whatever, or brothers or some neighbors, they take over their land or this thing. So that assistance, or there is some police case, the police should respond immediately to their thing. We have had some incidents, I don't want to name them, where, high-handedness or something, I shouldn't be saying it, but, earlier the army used to go to a police station and do its right things, but now we don't do that. I mean, but, that kind of a thing, you need the respect that the soldiers from the other side are also, so they are willing to do a lot of things. And I can tell you, Indian Army soldiers are the best. And one part which always gets mixed out, because now everybody is a soldier. There's a clear difference between CAPFs and the armed forces. The difference lies also to a big credit in because all our actions are officer-led. Officer-led actions, that's why you find in most of the casualties, it is the officers who are this thing. Because, it is very natural. I give an order and I'm sitting behind and telling others to go. You see, of course, maybe as a senior officer, I will sit behind. But if I was a captain major in some of the actions when I did cross attachment, or we went on some patrol ambushes, or as a brigadier, like in UN, we had a post which was taken by the rebels. And it was an Indian post which was, the rebels took it. So I made it a point that I'll take it back because it is the Indian post. So as a brigadier, I led that in some form. Of course, you're not fighting, but you're going to a rebel area where anything can happen. So the soldiers want respect, and their requirements are minimal. I'm telling you. So their back home family or their parents or this thing has to be looked. And they are very happy by, very small things. So we interact with them very, very intimately. Our connection with them, which may not be known to others, is very, very intimate with all our soldiers as officers. And they also respect officers who are very intimate. So that is the thing I think should answer your question.
Jihan, I'll take the liberty to say that, yes, I will.
He's got probably the most famous surname the Indian Army has ever seen.
His
Field Marshal's
grandson,
Oh,
Jihan Vinayak Shaw.
Then, Mrs. Sherry Batliwala, she's in Chennai. So we called her for this Vijay Divas, and there's an artist in Bangalore who draws the painting in 5 minutes. So he drew the portrait of Field Marshal Manik Shah, and we presented it to her. I can maybe give you the photographs. So we are honored.
The last question, please, sir.
The qualities which he had. I think a lot of movies are made, but one movie is the true picture of Fauj. And other is this Amaran.
Amaran.
Amaran has been made very well. Vardaraja. In fact, I felicitated the director, called him too, and we had a special screening also. So definitely these two movies and some others also, but वो थोड़ा Bollywood type हो जाता है.
Thank you, Jihan. The last question, yes.
Sir. So I'm asking this question as a role of a mother and a community building aspirant. So one of the huge difference between a military person and a common civilian is discipline. So discipline, I believe, is one that empowers nation, society, and a human. My question here is, have you brought the discipline in your field to your home, and how did you bring it? And if you could bring it that in your home, can you tell us how to bring it in businesses and how to bring that discipline in society?
If I want to give a short answer, has any man brought discipline to his home? You're asking an impossible question. So, but no, that's on the lighter side. But I understand what you are implying. You see, actually, you don't know, it comes into your DNA. First DNA is, a little bit of DNA is because my father, my mother side, all were in Fauj. And in fact, I would like to proudly announce my grandfather, like Manik Shah, my grandfather was General Dalbir Singh. He took surrender. There's a good video. I thought we could show it. He took surrender of a brigade commander of Pakistan where he removed his ranks. That's gone viral also. He was my Nana, Major General Dalbir Singh. So, you know, ek to we have that kind of a thing in Fauj. We have that environment. Second, actually, that may be less, but the most important is your academies. The NDA and all these other places, they really, you know, make you, so to say, men out of boys or whatever that saying is, in which, you know, collective bonding is something which is developed. If I make a small mistake, my whole batch will go for a 6 the whole night. They'll be made to do 100 front rolls, 100, maybe 500, you don't lose count. Maybe run 5 kilometers, do bends. So, you know, you understand that whatever we do, it is together and nobody is for oneself. So, you know, this thing of being selfless has to, that is the start point for a discipline. Discipline is not Savdhan Vishram. Discipline is that when you are alone, you don't pick up a 1,000 rupee note. You try and find out who's the owner. So when you are, as I said, when you are always in this selfless mode, and which is the biggest example of selfless, you're giving your life. You're giving your life for a nation, for something which you don't even know. So some of the people who have actually done it, you really have to honor. And we in the army, we don't know, we have not been in this thing, but there are heroes. They really need to be respected. So getting discipline is, but I want to deviate from your question to say, another set of people who really have to be honored are our lady wives. You know, the lady wives of officers and Jawans, I think what they go through, no other kind of a family goes through. The number of stations which you shift, half the time you're without your families, you're not celebrating any of your festivals. And you know, there are so many other related this thing. Unfortunately, when we come after, you know, 40 years of service into a good house, वो देखते हैं फौज देखो कितना ऐश कर रही है. Or there is, you know, the things, you only see a speck of it. Because somebody who's in Chennai, Bangalore has come after, you know, maybe 5-10 years here and there in the country, and then finally landed up in Bangalore, or Secunderabad, or Chennai, or one of the better places, Wellington being another one. Half the guys want to do staff college. You know, it's a very tough exam because they want to be in Wellington. It's a good place. So, apart from it being a career thing. So, discipline is a very big topic. When you start being honest, like if you're always telling the truth, then the discipline comes. Not by making, but then, you know, these are signages when you make people do drill, when you make people do PT, when you make people get up in the morning, then the goodness of the discipline comes out. Because we were very, maybe seniors like Janaro, we said ki role of ragada was given to us. But that same ragada is now, we realize that has made us fit. That has made us fit for so long. So anything which is, if you are made to get up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, you realize that, because now, you know, you have all these health centers telling you get up early, sleep early and all that. We were doing it as part of our normal routine. And we were eating at scheduled times. You know, there was no snacking in between, in our academy or in our way we function. So our body was healthy, our mind was healthy. And it is a combination of everything. And then, you know, when some trust is bestowed upon you, now you're looking at me with a lot of respect. Now, how can I be indisciplined? You see, if you feel that I am a role model, So how can I, and the officers who are here, they have to live up to the expectations of the country and the society. So I think when you give respect to anybody, even in corporates, I think everybody rises to the occasion. So we don't give respect, I think. We don't make heroes. Again, I'm taking, in fact, too much examples of the West. In West, heroes are made. You have a Tom Cruise, but many Tom Cruises are here also. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the question, which brought in a very different segment of. Thank you so much. Before I thank you, General, I'm going to request Brigadier Das to talk to us about tomorrow, about what will happen tomorrow in the morning. I request you to say a few words. It's very important that we will be there. And he just told about rising early, being on time, eating right. So tomorrow will be an early day, because if we are very inspired by this, then you have to be inspired for tomorrow morning. And when you listen to the brigadier, you better listen, and you know what will happen. He will expect us to be there.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Brigadier Krishnendu Das, and I am Center Commandant at the Madras Regimental Center. And we will be the host for all of you tomorrow for the day 2 of your dialogue. And believe you me, I have nothing to do with this timing. And we actually wanted it to start a little late, but I understand we are tight with time tomorrow. You have the talks happening immediately after this. So we have the whole program starting at 7:30 in the morning. Okay, but I promise you it will be something really good and it will be interesting, and we have tried to keep it short, but also very, very interesting. We are going to walk you through certain infrastructure that we have, that we use for training. We all have at the center the Indian Army Cross Country Node. We also have the Indian Army Adventure Node at the Madras Regimental Center. And also a boys sports company where we scout around for young boys, 8 years old and beyond. And they come and train with us. We have coaches with international exposure who are training them. So you will get to meet these children. Also, we have a bit of firing plan. If anyone who's interested in the rock climbing, there'll be a demonstration. If you wish to do that, we can facilitate that, and also some bit of firing, and we'll have a competition if you wish to have one. And I think that's about it. So it will give you a glimpse, but I don't promise that it will give you a whole picture of what Army life is. So welcome to MRC tomorrow. Till lunchtime, you're all with us. So we are looking forward to hosting you tomorrow. Thank you.
I'd just like to acknowledge I missed out, sir, Ambassador Pankaj Saran and General Narasimhan. Sorry, I missed acknowledging you. I saw you later. It was
our fault.
I don't expect people of your eminence to listen to me.
I just want to tell the audience that the dialogue is certainly a national class dialogue, because the presence of geopolitics, national defense, and multiple other security experts in this room, it's one of the most powerful things, and thank you so much. So tomorrow, Mr. Arun Maira said there should be action, and action dialogue. Looks like there is a lot of action tomorrow. You also quietly said if you want, we can climb. There's action plan. So I'm sure this is going to be a fantastic day. And this is all thanks to General, who said we have to experience this. Last year he hosted us, he spoke to us. When we went in, the natural awe that all of us had, we felt like children. Of course, wanting to take pictures with our mobile phones, but then also to see and learn. And this time, looks like we will immerse ourselves in a lot more. General, thank you so much for this, because it's that openness, I think, inspires us. And you are being strategic in saying that this is not going to be two worlds in the future. We have to work together. And I also want to say that today's conversation told us that there is excellence possible in our society, because many times in our multiple group discussions, we discuss about the lack of it, and also what is missing and why we are not able to do it. And here we have excellence, and this is not a lab case, this is a large case in this country. And thank you for reminding us with a smile, with also reminding us like a family, but also with discipline, telling us strategically if you don't do it, what's going to happen, and also reminding us of the future of things of the multiple aspects that will happen. The war is not going to be the traditional ones, and it's not that society can remain without it. You reminded us already evils that are happening in society could be of many other reasons. Thank you for reminding us, and also the fact that industry, society, and families can learn and equip ourselves. Thank you very much for this powerful session. I'm sure that this was very, very important for us.
Thank you so much. I would have been there tomorrow, but going for the Aero Show, which is in Bangalore. But definitely, I'm sure you will enjoy the session tomorrow. Thank you so much. Nandri.